Hey guys, welcome to another Jovial Top 5. Today we're going to be going over our top 5 favorite Star Wars moments. Now, I know what you're thinking, there's a lot of these online, but I've noticed mostly they're focused on the films, where today I want to talk about more about stuff from the extended universe and like the books or the TV shows, just new and different things. So I'm Taylor Wilson, I'm with...
Hi.
What are you doing here?
I'm doing the top 5 Star Wars moments.
But you don't like Star Wars, everybody knows that.
That's not true.
There's a Facebook post to prove it, yeah.
That's true. I like the world of Star Wars. I just feel like it's not living up to its full potential.
You gave Force Awakens a 6.5.
I admit that's a bit high. I do, personally, it would be about, maybe like a 4.
Oh.
But yeah.
Alright, we'll see how this goes, but yeah, get ready for some controversial picks, guys. My first pick for favourite moment from Star Wars comes from the 2003 Clone Wars series, which was
this series.
The 2D animated series done by the creators of Samurai Jack. I was hyped as hell for this show, because the big thing they were hyping up this whole season was the battle between Anakin Skywalker and Asajj Ventress.
Your fall will be my ascension to the Sith.
Man, it was so cool. It's still like my favourite lightsaber fight in Star Wars because there's never been a fight this rugged, brutal, this savage, it was two people stuck on a planet fighting to survive. And
yeah.
I just think it was everything about it, the cinematography, the animation, and yeah, I thought it was beautiful to watch. It starts to rain, and I just love the idea of two warriors in the rain and the lightsabers going sizzling, and there's a moment where they're in the darkness hunting each other. So many cool moments in this one fight. Hayden Christensen didn't convince me that Anakin could become Vader, but this moment in the climax, I was like, that's Vader.
Yeah.
That's a young Darth Vader right there.
After the prequels, a lot of people saw Anakin and was like, oh, they made Darth Vader wimpy.
He's holding me back!
In one scene in the film Rogue One, everyone was just like, oh, this is the Darth Vader we wanted. I don't think I need to be specific about the scene. It's the scene. Everything about it is perfect. The lighting is magnificent. The screams of the rebel soldiers, it's music to my ears. The way Darth Vader just walks relentlessly, lifting people up, cutting them in half. This obsidian tide of death. Oh damn, Disney, you did good.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. And in that moment, he didn't say a word, but he said so much.
Next on my list is from the film The Empire Strikes Back, and it's not the scene you're thinking. Luke's learning from Yoda how to use the Force and his X-Wing starts to sink. And up until this point, Yoda's kind of just like the weird little alien thing.
It's like a little gremlin.
Luke's really questioning why he's even there, if it's worth it. He gives up and he can't lift the X-Wing, and then Yoda just does it himself. And this is like such an important scene, not for just Luke's character, but for Star Wars, because it's the first moment where you see the Force used to its full potential.
Yeah.
You see Obi-Wan do a few mind tricks and Luke move the lightsaber, but this is a full ship, and this little green thing can lift a whole ship, and the music's so brilliant. Oh my god, that's what the Force can do. This is what this master can do.
Yeah.
It's essential you watch the films for the first time in the order of release, because if you see Attack of the Clones first and see Yoda jumping around, it's sort of not the same effect, you know?
Yeah.
That's such an iconic moment, seeing him lift it up, and I feel like it's sort of necessary you watch that first.
Number 4 is from a game.
Something new.
Called Knights of the Old Republic.
A classic.
Classic game. There are so many moments just within Knights of the Old Republic that are just amazing. I could have done just a whole list on HK-47.
Love is making a shot to the knees of a target 120 kilometers away.
The moment that I chose was the main plot twist.
Yeah.
When you start this game, you don't know who you are, you have no memory. You go and you help some Jedi and they say, hey, you should help us and maybe we can help you get your mind back. This is going to be very, very abbreviated because there's a lot of details. You get caught and you're trying to escape, and then the Sith that is hunting you starts talking like, hey, you don't remember?
What? You mean you don't know?
What greater weapon is there than to turn an enemy to your cause?
You are actually the main Sith Lord. Such a great moment. Like, it's something that can only be done in the game.
Yeah.
And the Council used the Force to reprogram your mind.
It's not just a great Star Wars twist, it's the twist. It's like one of the biggest video game twists, is that you're Darth Revan. And the way they do it for the stories, you keep getting these, like, you don't know they're flashbacks, you think they're visions of
that's right,
like,
yeah.
the Jedi ally you have fighting this Sith Lord. And then the last vision, the mask falls off and it's your character, and it's like, oh, fuck, I'm Revan. And then at that point in the story, you can choose to stay good or embrace the dark side like you were before.
Yeah. It's a moment that it just blows your mind.
You're Darth Revan? This is big.
My number 3 is from a show called Star Wars Rebels. This is a recent thing that's happened, so spoilers if you're watching the show. So one of the biggest disappointments from the prequels was Darth Maul, right? He showed up.
Amazing.
Cool character, and he got killed off too quickly, and it was like, what a waste. He should have stuck around. So one of the great redeeming moments from the new canon is that they brought Maul back. He somehow survived, and he came back in Clone Wars and Rebels. The actor that plays Maul compares him to the Greek god, I think Sisyphus, I think that's how you say his name, would constantly roll a boulder up a hill, but every time it got to the top, it'd fall down. And that's the whole idea of Maul, is he keeps striving for victory, and every time he loses. And that keeps happening in the series until he pretty much loses his mind, sadly. And so when you meet him in Rebels, he's an old man, pretty much, and he's just filled with revenge. He wants to kill Obi-Wan. That's all he's got left.
Kenobi.
And there's a brilliant episode in the series called Twin Sons, where Maul finally tracks down Obi-Wan on Tatooine.
Look what has become of you. A rat in the desert.
Look what I have risen above.
The episode ends pretty much with them in a final battle. They're not leaping all over the place, it's just two old warriors having a stare down, mapping out their moves, and then it's... over like that. He doesn't strike him down in anger, he's just putting like an old dog to rest,
Yeah,
really.
it's more like pity.
Pity, yeah, and Maul, he just dies in his arms, and Maul's just like...
Tell me, is it the chosen one?
He is.
He will avenge us.
When we first see Maul, Obi-Wan attacks him in rage, and it's this insane fight. Their last fight is all about like wisdom. They know each other now. It's like a really beautiful closing stanza on this really nice arc.
It's such a brilliant moment because Obi-Wan's using his iconic pose, but then he swaps it to Qui-Gon's pose from Phantom Menace, and Maul notices and goes and he does, if you watch, the same move he used on Qui-Gon to knock him out. So it's like, pride, I'm going to kill you like I killed your master. Obi-Wan knows the counter move. He baited him into it. Just a great callback to Phantom Menace that he baited him with the Qui-Gon move and cut him down like that. So.
My number 3, it's from the amazing 2D Clone Wars series that we've already brought up. We open up and we see the clones like putting on their helmets, loading up. They're flying in, there's this huge army of droids. This is Blue Tide. So they fly in, burst through the ruins, and then they find General Grievous slaying these Jedi. The clone troopers have come to rescue the Jedi. Usually it's the Jedi who are like the legends who can't be felled. And seeing the clone troopers have to save the Jedi was just something so alien to me, but something so cool. And one particular moment, they're doing a fighting retreat. Ki-Adi-Mundi comes up to the clone trooper and he's in hysterics.
We must pursue! General, we can't. The survivors will die. We have no time.
This is the first time we don't see Jedi as like these gods of like pure clear thought all the time. This war and this like cyborg who's tearing them to pieces is... You finally see them crack. Seeing these combat veterans next to these warrior priests and the kind of contrast, I just really loved seeing the cracks in the Jedi and the utility of the clones.
My number 2 is the Battle of Yavin from A New Hope. I just find this to be just the definitive Star Wars scene, you know, just a really cool battle sequence, and it's so well edited. I get so invested every time I see it, and I just like, I don't know, you always kind of expect with Star Wars you want a lightsaber fight at the end. Just the whole idea of these rebels, they've got a short time period to destroy the Death Star. It's so exciting. And the addition of Rogue One makes it even more exciting, knowing how many people have died to get the plans for this very moment. It raises the stakes. I love the moment in particular where Luke stops using his targeting computer.
Use the Force, Luke.
Of course, Han Solo coming in and saving the day. Tarkin just thinking he's won. I love that Tarkin's just like, sweet, and doesn't even know, and then they just blow up. It's just so brilliant, and I think it's just like a perfect climax to a film.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Sort of a cheat.
No, stop.
It's not a moment. It's a character who has lots of moments.
Okay.
And this character is Grand Admiral Thrawn is the greatest military tactician in the Star Wars universe. So he's got a lot of non-canon books, and he's also got a very recent book that was released this year.
He is like the replacement emperor, kind of like the guy who stepped up in charge once the emperor died.
There are these moments like, how's he gonna get out of this? And he gets out of things in just the most crazy space MacGyver-y ways. I was looking through specific moments, but I also don't want to spoil certain things as well, because it's very much like a magician spoiling his trick. If I can make one recommendation, it would be to look up a little short story called Mist Encounter. It gives you a very short insight into his tactical mindset. You know, everyone else is playing checkers and he's playing chess kind of thing.
The thing about Thrawn is that when Disney took over Star Wars, they said all the expanded universe is not canon anymore. Thrawn is so popular, they reintroduced him into the canon, and he's one of the main antagonists in Star Wars Rebels.
This guy, it makes all the other like Star Wars characters, they seem shitty.
Yeah.
They seem absolutely shitty by comparison, compared to how complex and just how ingenious this guy is.
How did you know? Because rebels have friends always rushing to the rescue.
I know I just said, oh, I like Battle of Yavin because it doesn't end with a lightsaber fight, but I'm going to pick the ending of Return of the Jedi for my number one. Return of the Jedi has some terrible moments, but I think everything on the Death Star is brilliant, and the part in particular that's my favourite Star Wars moment is when Darth Vader finds out Leia is Luke's sister.
Sister. So, you have a twin sister.
Vader just says in this moment, well, if you can't be my apprentice, maybe your sister will. And this makes Luke snap. He goes apeshit on Vader, losing his absolute goddamn mind. And I just think it's sort of the ultimate conclusion to Star Wars. And this is Luke, who's the representation of the last of the Jedi, just losing, going nuts, just succumbing to the dark side. He just cuts off Vader's hand, and then he sees the robotic hand. And I just find that brilliant. That's the connection. He realizes what's happening to him, and he just says, no, I'm done. It's like he feels the pull, like Anakin did, but then he says no, and just says no to it and rejects it. I just think it's a brilliant moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
And after that, obviously, the Emperor using the lightning, and Vader watching, reminding him of Mace Windu, and just says, no, I've had enough.
Whether you want to acknowledge the prequels or not, it does tie up the lore of the dark side. What they need to do to stop it is that they have to just say, no, you can't make the same mistakes twice.
Yeah. I just like that ending, the end of the Emperor by Vader's hand, and Luke rejecting the dark side finally. So poetic, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
My number one, again, it's primarily a character, and the character is Darth Bane. For those of you who have seen the episode of Clone Wars, it's the one who started the Rule of Two. There's a trilogy of novels, just the way his character develops and the way he sets up the Rule of Two, it made me not only appreciate the idea of the Sith, but also made me really appreciate the prequels and the overall scheme of the Emperor a lot more. And so how it started was the Jedi and the Sith were at war. Darth Bane realizes that he has this enormous power, and he kind of analyzes the Sith army. And he realizes that every time a new Sith master arises, the overall strength of them becomes weaker. They're not learning, they're trying to gain power by being vultures. And Darth Bane is like, alright, we gotta put a stop to this. The only way we can beat the Jedi is to lurk in the shadows. So what does this guy do? He goes to the main leader and says, hey, here's an idea. I found this design for a bomb. You can use it against the Jedi. The Sith takes it. Alright, let's do it. All the Sith get annihilated. Darth Bane, meanwhile, is off doing his own thing because he knows what's going to happen. He kills pretty much 99% of the Sith race. I just love that. I just love that. It's just like, this isn't working. Kill them all. We're going to start again from the beginning and get the shit right. Over these years, he starts teaching his student who will, in the end, rise up, slay him when she's strong enough, and then she'll fight an apprentice, and it'll follow on until we get to Palpatine, and the rest is history, essentially. And his plan eventually does come to fruition. And knowing that moment, it's just like, damn, that's so cool.
Yeah, he started it up. The guy from the shadows that led to the point where the Jedi got wiped out.
Like it took someone, you had to be a certain kind of evil. The core thing about the Sith is using your passion as strength. And it was about using that in a way that maximized it. Killing everyone all of the Sith is just, it just blew my mind.
Have you come to be my apprentice? You must kill me to gain my place.
Yeah, thanks guys for watching our top 5 favorite Star Wars moments. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There were a few more things you didn't think about in there. Anything we missed out, put them in the comments. Any other obscure characters that you like, that you want mentioned?
Yeah, tell us what your favorite moments are from the books or novels, all the films.
Games, all of them, man. We love Star Wars.
Exactly.
See you next time.